Hi, this is Aaron at Power Popaholic, and I am talking with the great Eric Dover of the Lickerish Quartet. They have a new album coming out called Volume 3, right?
Yeah, there it is. That's about as creative as that one gets. But there's much more to be found within.
Okay, great. Well, tell me, Eric, about this album. I felt listening to it, it's a little more serious than the previous two volumes. Volume one, you did have like this what I would call whimsical, kind of playful songs, that basically were having a lot of fun, like Fadoodle or Snollygoster Goon. But Volume 3 doesn't have anything like that. They've got really serious songs on it. One, my favorite, though, is In the Meantime, which is a really, it's an urgent call to action almost. Can you tell me a little bit about how this volume differs from the others in the way it was written with you guys? And what your contributions are within the all the songs there.
Sure, yeah. Well, that's a very loaded question,
I
as
know.
you said. But in the meantime, was inspired. That's Tim's inspiration really coming to light there, and
Right.
there's a lot going on. I mean,
Yeah.
it's quite an emotional process getting that song to where we, or at least I think for myself personally, it took a lot of work for me uh, because his lyrics were so, well, they're evocative and like you said, they're like a call to action of sorts.
Yeah.
And, I'm very proud of that. I mean, who knows what Tim will come up with, but I just wanted to point that out.
Yeah.
We brought song ideas in, and then we all collectively decided which songs we would want to complete. Believe me, I tossed a few through that they were like, no way, and we all kind of went through that process and came up with a great, what we feel is a great collaboration of 12 songs for the three EPs. So
Yeah, I think it's really good. It does play to what the Jellyfish fans really enjoyed about the band, as far as, all the musical cues and the production style and everything. Just from your opinion, was there a conscious effort among the three of you to say, you know what, this song doesn't sound Jellyfish enough? But then again, there are other songs in there, especially a lot of Tim's songs, that don't sound anything like Jellyfish. Like from the first album, there's a song called "Three is a Three is a Number," and that song doesn't sound like anything Jellyfish ever did, but it's a good song. And I think was it judged just on the fact that, hey, this is a good tune and we can work with this, as opposed to, oh, let's pick that one because that one sounds more like Jellyfish.
oh no, we never looked at it like that. We never do. We got in you know, it, we got in a room and really kind of wrote these songs out together once we uh, kind of collectively decided what we were going to work on, and everyone added so much of their energy and spirit and vision to completing the songs. It's a loving process getting back together, and after all these years of not communicating or having a musical relationship, to getting to sit in a room and
Right.
play music together and create stuff. So
Has because these EPs were spaced out over a number of years, has the pandemic affected the songwriting process in any way?
no, it didn't, because fortunately we had already written the songs. Uh, we'd gotten together as early as 2017. The whole process began then with Tim and Roger talking, and then they called me in after, and
Mhm.
that's when we got in a room and actually, at a garage over in Northridge, and it was kind of a garage studio that my friend had converted, and it sounded really nice.
Great.
So we just got in there with some acoustic guitars and tapes, or I'm sorry, what you kids call it these days, MP3s.
MP3s. Yeah.
And yeah, that's about it.
All right, cool. So let me ask you some guitar questions. I mean, who's your, and this is a loaded one too, who's your favorite guitarist? I know you've worked with, Alice Cooper, you've worked with Slash, but I mean, overall, out of all guitarists, living or dead, you can pick a couple of your favorites.
Oh my God. I mean, yeah, that's too big of a list to really mention, but
That's why I said I
you know,
gave you
I,
more than one.
I would say a Les Paul for sure. Um, Robert Fripp for another completely different reason. Kevin Shields for My Buddy Valentine. I mean, I could just start talking
Yeah, no, well,
forever.
I want the ones that influenced you and the way you play
Well,
the most. Yeah.
Prince did because of his, his whole hyper blues thing, which
Yeah.
I always loved. I always loved playing blues stuff growing up with my friends because that's what we did. We'd get in the garage and go, "Hey, how much wheedly wee can you wheedly be?"
That's great. That's great. On a related note, favorite guitar chord?
Oh gosh, that changes every day too.
Really?
Um,
I figured
oh
it'd be
yeah,
a
there's
minor
some.
chord because, you're into the blues. Blues guitar.
Well, yeah, I mean, well, it depends if it's D minor, but which we all know is the saddest of all keys. No, I mean that changes a lot, man. I mean, you can listen to jazz guitar players and the voicings they come up with, and they're completely inspiring in a whole different way. And that's with six strings. That's just with six strings and an imagination.
Right,
Um,
right.
so these chords are always constantly popping up in my lexicon as I go through even listening to old music and trying to interpret what they were doing and going, holy moly, I'm not worthy.
Oh, that's okay. So when you're in the studio though, and you have the songs all mapped out, laid out, all the sections are sort of quote built. Who takes charge in the studio there? Is that a Roger thing, or is that delegated?
Oh, no, not really. I mean, for this, we were with Frankie Saragusa, who's played with a number of acts that we're all familiar with. And uh, since Roger kind of has a very beautiful organizational mind, we just let him stay at the desk with him and did that thing. We also did like tracks from home too, obviously because of the
Sure.
pandemic. I mean, but the initial bare bones of all of the sessions were completed by the time the pandemic hit, meaning that the drums had been already recorded with Jeremy Stacy,
Okay.
who plays with King Crimson and is an amazing talent in his own
Fourth part
right.
of your
And
quartet, I've read. He's also considered the
yeah,
fourth quartet. Okay. Um,
yeah, he's definitely a vital part of the whole situation. But uh, you know, he's over across the pond, as they say a lot,
right.
at Abbey Road and the like. So
Wow. All right, cool. Another question, and I don't know if anyone's ever hit this one on you before for a while. Are you ever thinking of reviving Sextus, your solo effort from years ago? I know I missed the sequel to the first album, which was Devil Angel. So I have still to get that. That's on my list of things to get. But are you considering maybe going back to that now that these 3 EPs are done, or do you guys want to, give it a rest and then come back a year later and start all over again, either volume 4 or do something different?
well, we're never going to rule anything out, obviously.
Good.
Uh, but in terms of Sextus, then uh, yes, that's an ongoing project and has been, and I'm kind of clamoring through it as we speak. I don't know why it's not easy for me sometimes, but well, LA, it's just very distracting too, you know, like, so.
I really like, the thing is, it's your riffs that really get to me. I'm wearing an Aerosmith shirt because, I consider Joe Perry also one of the king of riffs. He built a riff and he would drive it into the ground. He'd use the Angus Young playbook and just take that riff and run with it and keep going until you couldn't go anymore with it. It ran the whole song. And I love the way you play because it's got that kind of those kind of mechanics when you play your guitar. I've seen, so it's something I really like about the way you do stuff.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I really strive to be those to do those things. I mean, you're working with electronics and guitars and volume, and there's a certain hypnosis to be achieved if you do it correctly, and I'm doing my damnedest.
Well, you certainly are. And the Lickerish Quartet does a great job with this EP. I know aren't you packaging? Are they packaging the 3 EPs together in Japan as a single album?
Yes, that's right. That's going on with Sony, Sony Import, which I totally recommend getting. I've seen the artwork from it and the packaging, and it just looks dynamite.
Nice.
So yeah, check that out for sure. Because if you don't want to go through the trouble of buying all 3 EPs, you can get this beautiful import that we have going on right now.
Any bonus tracks being added?
Yes, there are. There are a couple.
Oh, awesome! All right, that gives me an incentive right now. Even though I have all 3,
Yeah,
I'm going to get that.
there are, and we were kind of I think, if I'm not mistaken, somewhere in the middle of finishing the second or the first EP when we decided to do these bonus tracks, and they're covers, but they're I think they show our influences.
Okay.
Definitely.
Yeah,
So,
and I think it's great that the sound is now. I think also a great thing is about the Lickerish Quartet is not only is it distinctive from the Jellyfish, but it's distinctive from everybody's solo work. I mean, I think if you're gonna like put it in a planetary orbit, it comes a little closer to Roger's stuff, but it's its own distinct sound. The quartet has its own distinct sound, and I think it's just wonderful. And tell me, so what's the follow-up, or other than you'd mentioned you're continuing the Sextus thing, but what about the band as a whole? Is there anything planned yet, or you're still working on promoting this one, and we'll see?
well, we're in the midst of it. It comes out actually officially here, I think, May 20th, if I'm
Okay,
not mistaken.
yeah, that'll be about the time this thing goes up on YouTube. So
Yeah. So right now we're just trying to get the word out and get into the game with all the rest of the uh, whatever goes on in that world of promotion. Those are phone calls with people and doing certain things. Aside from that, we'll see. I mean, we love making music together. It's not that. It's time and commitment with other projects and etc. So,
anybody else you're working with right now, you're either producing or playing with, that you want to bring up, you want to mention?
nobody at the present. And like I've said, I've been really in my Sextus world for the last couple of years already. So,
Wow.
trying to get a new release out. So,
All right, well, hopefully
I do
this,
projects for people, but I do session work. But the Sextus material's been the main thing that keeps me up at night. So,
okay, great. Another thing I noticed about this album is that it had a little bit of and maybe it's sprinkled throughout, a little bit of a Prague influence, particularly on You Ask Alone. Kind of like a lot of details in there that are similar to some prog bands like Marillion. that I'm hearing. Is that sort of like a direction that you all sort of said, yeah, this is something we could do? We could do a prog record if we really wanted to.
Well, we've never considered the possibility of something more like a prog project. I'm into anything like that, of course, but I think maybe the similarities maybe stem from having a few of the same influences, meaning, modular synthesis in the early 70s kind of vibes and whatnot. It's very fun to have that kind of sound, but yeah, I mean, it's all good. I mean,
Okay.
prog music is amazing. I mean, I love my King Crimson records for
Yep.
sure.
Yep. There you go. Now this is another loaded question. Do you have a favorite song among all three volumes? I do, and I'll tell you, but I wanted to hear your answer first.
Uh, well, that would be kind of a split tie between Magic Number and New Days.
Oh, okay.
I
New
think
Days,
so. And
pretty interesting song. It goes also. It's very detailed, that song. My favorite among all three volumes, I still love Lighthouse Spaceship. I think that encapsulates the band sound the best. That's my opinion. But I think it's great, and that's really all I got. So thanks so much,
good.
Eric. I appreciate you
Hey,
getting on
thank
the
you.
call. And
Wonderful.
yeah, and you can get the volume 3 Lickerish Quartet um, in all places like Amazon and all over any place where they sell music, correct? And look out for that import with all three on it. If you haven't gotten volume 1 and 2, shame on you. You should buy it and get volume 3 and complete your set. And we'll talk to you again soon, hopefully when the Sextus album comes out.
Yeah, I'd love to. And
Okay, great.
thanks again.
Take care, Eric.
All right, buddy. See
Bye.
you.